guys, Tyler Berger here with BassFishingHQ. Today we're just going to be fishing a little local lake that's close to me. It's got some pads, it's got some milfoil, things like that. I just got out here. I didn't realize how cold the water temp was. It's 46, it's 47 degrees. So the biggest goal is to just try to catch a 5-fish limit today. I've got about 3 or 4 hours of fishing time. And with it being Ohio, if I can catch a 5-fish limit, I'm gonna be pretty satisfied with that. So I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna be doing. Maybe a little chatterbait, maybe a little cranking, maybe a little flipping, but that water being so cold, these fish might be just off the bank a little bit. So let's go, let's try to see what we can do, try to catch that 5-fish limit. That's a chunky one. That fish freaking swallowed it. You don't think he won? So he was right in the middle of a gut, in between these two little areas. Water's 47 degrees, no crankbait, got it. Right where he was supposed to be. Oh gosh. Come here, fish. Man. Gosh, they got it freaking chewed every time. Chewed, dude. All right, we got us a little pattern going now. In the middle of these little guts, these fish, this area right down here, this canal is part of the deepest part of this canal system, and they move up in here to spawn. Those fish are right in between. Nice fish. I'm telling you what, this is, a lot of people talk about a DT6 being the best cold water crankbait, and it's great, but this little speed trap, I mean, this sucker catches them. Straight up catches them. Oh gosh. Choked it. Got it again.
better. A little better fish there. I'm telling you, 47-degree water. Little crank. They like it. And that's a fish. Oh, okay. I guess they don't mind the fritz side. God, yeah, he choked it. Good grief. He choked that. Choked. Head first. The old fritz side. Okay. I can get down with some fritz side. Gosh, I felt like I was gonna get bit there. There he is. Golly. Don't you do it, son. What the heck do I... Oh, it came off. Dang it. Dadgummit. That was a big one. Golly. That was my freaking 5th one, too.
So anytime you guys experience bass fishing in water temperature that's pretty cold, you know, today we were fishing 46, 47 degrees stained water. One of the best things you can do with your lure selection is choose something that's fairly subtle. You know, everyone knows how good a DT6, Rapala DT6 works in colder water. And the same is true about a number of different crankbaits. Today I used two. One that I ended up breaking and that I'd caught several fish on was this little speed trap. And this bait is you see I can broke the lip right off. This bait is a very, very old school but great bait to use in cold water. Another good one that I was started to use today was a fritz side crankbait. And the thing about fishing these lures is, again, they're very subtle. They don't have a huge, giant, wobbling action to them. They're subtle bait. And in that cold water, that's the kind of lure that a bass is really going to be attracted to, something that's not overpowering. So when you're fishing cold water, try to fish baits that are a little bit more subtle, especially if you're on a cooling trend. You know, this water temperature about a week and a half ago was in the 60s, and now it's 46, 47 degrees. You know, we've had a lot of cold fronts come through. When you have those type of conditions, picking something again that's subtle is going to help you to catch more bass. So again, if you're fishing cold water, check out the fritz side crankbait, check out a speed trap, DT6. Those are great subtle baits that get a lot of bites in cold water. Well, we just got off the water, ended up with just those 4 bass. They weighed about 6.5 pounds. Lost that big one. That really sucks. That would have been my 5th one, but I was thinking a lot, you know, after the fact. You know, we had this huge cold front that came through, really knocked down those water temps. And in my mind, there's really only a few things when you have a cold front like that come through that you can do that is very effective for catching bass. And one is to slow down. One is to fish something slow, you know, something like a shaky head or a little worm or even a jig, really, really slow. you can do that and it's gonna catch fish, but I would prefer to keep moving, right? I wanna try to hit as many like high percentage places throughout a day as I can to try and catch as many bass as I can. And so you can either slow down when you're fishing a cold front, or you can make them react. And the way you make them react is by fishing something like a crankbait or a rattle trap, something that you can bounce off of cover, whether that's grass, whether that's wood, and you can actually rip that bait up and let it sit, make those bass react to it. And that's probably the best thing you can do in a cold front situation to be able to catch bass. And that's probably my favorite way, because I would rather cover water, figure out exactly where the bass are, what they're doing, and try to duplicate that as many times as possible. I would much rather do that than fish something really, really slow. So when it comes to fishing a cold front, think of those two things. If you like to fish slow, then fish slow. Fish a jig slow, fish a worm slow, be subtle. Or if you're like me and you just prefer to cover water, make those fish react to your bait. Do something to your bait that's gonna make those fish react to it, not because they want to eat it, but just because they're reacting to it. And you're gonna catch a lot more cold front bass doing that. So guys, this has been Bass Fishing HQ, cold front tactics. If you guys have made it this far, please subscribe to the channel. I'm focusing on tournament bass fishing and bass fishing in general. So thanks guys for watching. Have a good one. See you in the next one.